There are some movies in cinema that when you go into it, you expect to get emotional because they're designed to be emotional, or because, for whatever reason, you kind of had the expectation that there's going to be emotional aspects of it. So maybe you're expecting to cry. I did not come into Jackass Best and Last thinking I was going to cry, but boy did I. I will start this off by saying Jackass is one of my favorite film franchises of all time. I think they are hilarious. I think they are unique. I think Johnny Knoxville is a one-of-one, absolute just... I don't even know how to describe him, but he is an absolute one-of-one human being. There is nobody like Johnny Knoxville. There will never be anybody like Johnny Knoxville ever again. That's what I'm going to start off by saying. What makes the Jackass movies for me is, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and welcome to Jackass. Every single time. That's the first time I almost cried during this movie, actually, because we know it's the last one. Johnny says multiple times during the film, they did it during press, it's called Best and Last. Like, it was just basically, like, hammered into our heads over and over again that this was going to be the last Jackass movie. And as sad as that is, that's kind of the way that we expected things to go, right? I mean, they're getting older. Johnny Knoxville especially. I mean, he's into his 50s. Steve-O's into his 50s, right? So they're getting older. The expectation was that they probably weren't going to do this forever, right? But with this being the last one, the first time I cried is when he said, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and welcome to Jackass. Or almost cried. Because that's probably the last time we're going to hear him say that in a new film, unless we get a 5.5, or they just drop a sixth one on us when they're 70 just for fun. I don't know. But overall, I want to talk about this movie and my thoughts on it, because even though this isn't like some cinematic masterpiece, and this isn't a movie that, as somebody who reviews cinema, I'm critiquing from very serious aspects, I love this movie, and so I want to talk about it. I think that this firmly fits into a very high level of Jackass, but not because of the brand new stunts that they introduce. Like in the other movies, a lot of the reason why the other movies are good is because they pull out stunts that are unique and new for the film, right? Whereas Jackass Best and Last, because it's the last one, the goal was to, yes, do new stunts, but also be like, hey, here are some stuff that you haven't seen ever, or you haven't seen in a long time, right? And so that's what the first thing that really, really got my attention with this movie, is they did a great job of showing the old stuff that happened, that we have seen before, some of it, and stuff that we've never seen, because they even say in the movie, like, some of the stuff they showed, like, MTV wouldn't allow it to air, right? Obviously, we see the first thing that Johnny Knoxville ever did. He wasn't even Johnny Knoxville at that point. He was still PJ Clapp. And we saw him shoot himself point blank in the chest with a gun, with magazines protecting him in a vest. So obviously that, like, we see that as like the first thing, and I had never seen that footage before. So it was really cool to see a bunch of footage that we haven't seen in a long time, or either haven't seen at all. And they did a good job. They would throw those in, and then they would shoot back to the president, and they would do like a cool stunt from the president that they thought of, and then they would go back to the old stuff, and then they would cut back into the new stuff. And that's what I thought was really good, is the way that they bounced back and forth to give us a nostalgia, but also say, hey, these guys still got it. So that was cool. As far as the actual new stunts that they came up with for this movie, I mean, none of it is really groundbreaking material. A lot of the stuff is stuff that we have seen in Jackass before. This is kind of that we kind of had a play on, with the new stunts. Obviously, they just weren't at the level that they used to be, and that's because these guys are getting older, right? And they're not doing as physically violent stuff as they once were. But there are some really, really just out there stunts in this one, like not even stunts, but just like some of the stuff that they did in this one really got me a little bit, for sure. So there definitely are some stunts or some sequences in this movie that is still classic Jackass, can barely look, about to throw up kind of thing. That happened at least twice in the movie for me, where I legitimately was starting to gag a little bit. But it was all great. But this really is the perfect love letter to Jackass. This movie, I think it was designed to be a love letter to this iconic franchise, from Johnny Knoxville, from the director, from the entire cast, Steve-O, Wee Man, Pontius, everybody, right? It was meant to be that love letter, right? And they had a cameo from Paul Walter Hauser, who's a big Jackass fan, and so that was cool to see that. Everybody really got their moment. If this is really truly the last one, I feel like everybody got at least a moment, except for Rachel Wolfson, who is completely out of this film. She is in every single stunt, but she never does a single thing. She shocks her tongue in the opening sequence. That is legitimately it. She does say on Twitter that her stuff got cut, one of her stuff got cut, which is fair. But she legitimately does nothing in this movie, right? She's done stuff in prior movies, and that's like, there's nothing against her. She just does not do anything in this movie. And so, like, if this is the last one, they didn't really give her a proper send off, but most of the other guys, if not all the other guys, had a moment where they were in the present. They did a cool stunt that they kind of were featured in, or we flash back to a classic stunt from them, or classic prank from them. So they all kind of got their shine, right? Obviously, Steve-O got the porta potty just getting launched. That was kind of his big thing, but he's in a big part of the movie as well. The current movie. And so, yeah, again, very, very good movie. I think it's very much a great love letter to Jackass. The ending is perfect. They recreated the very first opening where they're riding through a shopping cart. They did that in the present, and that's how they ended the film. And I think that was really good. That's where I really started to tear up, was when they come out of the fog in that cart again, just seeing how all of them have changed. Obviously, some people are missing. No Bam, which is sad. Obviously, we know why, but that's still sad. He wasn't even at the premiere. But just the way to see that they've all changed and literally grown up. Like, Johnny Knoxville was just a kid when we started doing this, and here he is. And so that's the last thing I'll say about this film and this franchise. Johnny Knoxville, you have my whole heart. He is a fantastic human being from what I hear. And not off screen and on screen, he is just a charisma machine. He is absolutely just, I cannot get enough of Johnny Knoxville, which is why I'll be going back and watching all the Jackass movies after this. If you are a Jackass fan and you are waiting for the perfect love letter of this franchise and you want just to be hit with nostalgia and sadness all at the same time, go see Jackass Best and Last in theaters now. Go see it with a packed theater, because I promise you, you will not regret it. If you guys did like this review, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you can to help grow the channel. And I will see you guys next time.